I think so we are good to go ahead and apply the filters to see what the image looks like after application of this vertical and horizontal filters over the actual image. Okay. Okay. So what we have done, we have initialized a new variable named as filter, which corresponds to horizontal filter. Now we are looping over the height. Okay. So as is my camera on? Okay. My camera is not on actually. Sorry for that. Yeah. So what we actually doing, like this is a image now. This is the image, let's say. Okay. So we are going height by height in a for loop, and then for each height we are going in a what is a horizontal direction, like width by width. So that's how we move actually in a image, like the convolutions that we are trying to simulate over here by using the looping functions. Okay. Now output image is nothing but what we are trying to get. So we are what to say modifying the pixel values of the output image, and what we are doing same as we done what we say saw in the convolution part. Like what we did, like we taken a 3 by 3 matrix in the slide. In the slides you can also see the filter we took, and we applied the filter over the image and multiplied the corresponding values. Like as you can see over here, I will just show. So this filter was pasted over this input, and these what is a corresponding values got multiplied with each other to produce the outputs, which is -15 for this particular case. So same thing which we are doing with the code itself. So this is the what is it code for that, and I will just explain like how it is happening. So pad image, this particular part which I have highlighted over in the blue, this is selecting what is a the what to say the filter, like receptive field. Actually receptive field it is selecting, like if we are trying to look at 3 by 3 image in the filter, we have to what to say impose a filter of 3 by 3 over that image. So what we do, we give the height and the width of that particular what to say image section we have to concentrate on. So that is actually we are doing in this what to say line of that code, and this is the filter. So like 3 by 3 matrix is multiplied with a 3 by 3 matrix, and we are summing it up and modifying the output images pixel values, which are located, which are indicated by ing values, which are nothing but the height and width of that image. So it sounds what is it thoda tedious, but what you can do, Colab, you can execute it with any of the available image you have, and you will see the results, and they are very awesome. Okay. So this is the output image shape. So output image shape is of 100 by 100 because we had implemented padding, so it retained the shape which it had originally of 100 by 100. So you can correlate the concept over here as well. Okay. So now plt.subplot is just a basic function to plot this what to say images in a particular fashion. Like what does it signify? The first number 1 here signifies the row, second number here signifies the column, in which column it should be, and the third number in this subplot parameter indicates the position. So that what we can infer from this, that this horizontal filter will be in the first row, and there will be 2 column, and in that there it will be in the first column itself. So the position is first column, and that's why it's very simple. And we have applied the title as horizontal edges, you can see there. So what we got actually, so if this edge has the horizontal edge of this, okay, I am what is hovering over it, so you can see that. So this edge horizontal edges are what is it displayed prominently in this horizontal filter, and same has been done with the vertical filter itself. First of all, we are going the height wise, and then if within a height we are going a width wise per image. Like how will a person will cover entire image? We will go from top to bottom, and then for each top to bottom we will go from left to right. So that is what we are trying to simulate over this Python function. And same over here, we are saying like, so this is our receptive field. I will just what to say highlight it. So this is what I have selected is the receptive field, and the filter is of 3 by 3 itself. So 3 by 3 filter imposed over a receptive field to generate an output, which is stored at the position out image I comma j, which is nothing but height and width parameters of that particular pixel. So that's how it is working. And same, we are also outputting the image size, which is of 100 by 100 due to the what you say benefit of padding. We are getting the actual image size as it is not. It's not 90 by 90. It's 100 by 100. So you will get like all this what you say things now. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to understand or like correlate with the like the more we correlate these things with our normal life now, we will understand this kind of more and more. So that's what we do actually. And then PLT.MHO, like we are highlighting the vertical edges for this as well. So sorry for the noise, construction is going on. Okay, so this vertical edges and horizontal edges for the particular image we had displayed have been highlighted. Okay, then what we are doing, like same image that we had uploaded, now we are now plotting it in a RGB color itself. Like this was the original image, and this is what we grayscaled it, and that's what we got. So that's what the difference. But the image is same. Image is not different. And now we will be what to say working around with the pooling, like how after applying pooling, how does it look? How the actual output of a pooling layer looks like. That's we are going to look now. So you can see like here, can anybody state in the this picture of max pooling what is the stride size actually? What will be the stride size here? Like after how many strides it will move? Anyone? Correct. Gajab log 2. So as you can see, we can also put it in the formula, and then we can also what to say find out its uh, pooling, how the result is coming on. So same, all those who have guessed correctly, congrats. And now we'll be looking at the code. Like this is the formulas and the codes. Okay. So first of all, some variables I need to what to say clear out first. So our input image is of what size? 100 by 100. So for that particular, we are applying a filter of 10 by 10, not 3 by 3 distance. So as our image is very large, we have to apply a filter of thoda large. Okay. So it's like it's just trial and error, but this suits better. That's why we have applied that. Okay. So filter size is 10 by 10 and stride is 3. So we are moving 3 pixels at a time. Okay. At every after every convolution. Okay. So that is the thing. So NH previous is nothing but the height of previous image, means nothing but an input image, and this is the height width of previous image, which is nothing but an input image itself, and the channels. So we are passing that as a x dot shape. So those will be what is assigned over there, and then we are doing the calculation of these functions you are seeing now. These same functions, what is the formulas or equations we have applied over here. So what this will actually look like. So 1 plus 100. 100 is what? NH previous means height of the image, input image, minus 10. Why 10? Because the filter size is 10. So 100 minus 10 divided by 3, which results in 30 plus 1. So our output image after pooling is applied will be of 31 by 31, which we can also cross confirm from here. So which is nice thing. We can now we understand how to calculate the resultant image. Future देखिए आपने. Okay. So that is one thing. And channel will remain same. Like input image will also have 3 channels of RGB. Output image will also have 3 channels of RGB. So there is no change. And there is no rocket science in that. So what we are doing, we are filling what we say, we are creating an empty array of 31 by 31 by filling it with zeros. That is basically those what to say uh, functions or like these lines of code are doing. Then we are printing the shape of that, and now this is very simple as well as crucial part as well if you have to understand. Now what we are doing, we are going image by image. M represents the number of training examples we have given for that particular function. So we have given only one image, so here M is 1. Okay, so this entire thing will execute only once, but in that only we have 31 by 31 height and 31 width as well. So those multiple will be executed 31 times respectively. And then what we are doing, we are calculating the slice. Again, we are calculating the receptive field. Same, no difference at all. This actual function what we are doing now, this is nothing but a receptive field. Means like we have to look into that. And here from here we have to calculate so from here we have to calculate the maximum value. So that's what we are actually doing. So 4956, the maximum value is 9. So this is actually the receptive field for this time being now for this max pooling filter. Okay. So that we are finding, and we are finding assigning the maximum and minimum value to particular x max and x average or what we say matrices that we have created. Okay. And here we are just plotting over them. So here actually what average pooling output of a particular image or a max pooling output of a particular image looks like. So I hope that this explanation is clear and some my lame jokes are also clear. Okay. Okay. So also, so that was all about what we say, um, filters, paddings, as well as the max pooling filters as well, like how the output actually looks like. So I will just show you how we can create a convolution neural networks after by applying some basic functions, like in a short way. I will explain that. So we are using a cipher dataset for this what to say, CNN model for predicting images in that. So it has multiple what we say classes in that. Those classes include airplanes, automobiles, bird, like all these images are present in the data set itself. Okay, so I will go through it and let's try to explain it. So all the required libraries are there. TensorFlow, Keras is there. Sequential for our model architecture, dense, flatten, convolution 2D, max pooling 2D, and dropout. All we know now. Categorical, we will explain. NumPy for some numerical calculations and plotting. Okay, and 538 is not it is nothing but a plotting style we use as a matplotlib. There are multiple plotting styles like ggplot is there, 538 is there, and lots more. So okay, what we have done, imported the data and then splitted it into training and testing data. Xtrain in holds the image arrays, and ytrain is nothing but the label for that particular image. Like if it is a cat, then it will specify that it's a cat, and xtest, ytest, it's for testing purpose. We will not train on that, and it will be like unknown from the model to train. Okay, so okay, I see some. Okay, no, nothing is that. Okay, okay. Now what we'll do is like print out the shape of the training data as well as testing data. So we have a lot of data in this, like 50,000 training example as well as 10,000 testing examples. We have like 60,000 images data. We have just downloaded over this inbuilt data set which Keras provides. Now what we are doing is like printing any random image and showing, like you can see there, it's a horse, okay, on which a girl is sitting maybe. Now what we're trying to do is print ytrain is less than 0, means if there is any label which is not defined or like improper, like the labels are from 0 to 9 for this particular thing. I will just tell you. I just looked into it and training you. So there is there is not a label which is like less than 0, means which indicates nothing. So there all the labels are correct. That's what we are trying to say or like to indicate over here. Okay, so let's move on quickly. So np.array classification, what we have done is like whatever the classes present in this what we say data set that we have printed over here for our convenience, like airplane is there, bird, cat, deer, dog, frog, what and what. Okay, and you can see that the 11th image just we plotted over here has a tag of horse. Okay, so which is correct, means the labels are correctly mentioned. Now one thing we also had covered in the beginner track of the ML Fest as well, which is one hot encoding. Like when you are training a CNN model or working with computers, like they understand or like maybe good at understanding categorical values. Like what are categorical values? Like we are representing any what we say label as 0 to 9, but we can represent 0 or let's say 1 as but okay, 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, so this is how a categorical representation, one hot encoding is what is it done or is visualized. Okay, so one will be represented as like this, and if you want to represent 2, how will it be? Like it will be like this. So 2 will be represented like this. Simple है, ज़्यादा tension नहीं. Okay. Now we will move ahead and normalize the data. Like computation can get very large and थोड़ा फिर वो time consuming हो सकता. So we will divide by 255. Why 255? Because it's the highest pixel value it can get on any image. Okay. Now comes the interesting part which we all were waiting for. reprocessing दिमाग खराब करता. Okay, so model building part. So we are building a sequential model. So what we have done, sequential is nothing but a class of which object model we have created, and these add are nothing but the member functions of this. थोड़ा सा ops में जा गया हूँ. Okay, so here we are adding a convolution 2D layer and we are passing 32 as filters. So 32 kernels will be created for that, and the kernel size we have specified as 3 by 3, and the activation function is ReLU, and then the input shape of the image we have specified. So our input image is like when you see the specification of this particular data set, Cypher10, you will get to know that all the images are what to say uh, are in the 32 by 32 pixel size format. That's why they are so much blurry, like only 32. अपने को ऐसा 1080p images देखने का we are too fond of. So that is the thing. Okay, and then one difference you can notice, like I have added another convolution layer, but I haven't specified the input shape. Like it's not necessary to specify the input shape after it's given in the first layer itself. So it's kind of adding a saying that my input layer is of size this, like we had covered in the PPT of input layer. What is this? Okay, so that is what it is. And activation is really most common, but for this it works. That's why we are, and this model we have built is kind of similar to what we say a VG16 model, which is like all known, but we haven't included all the parts of VG16 because it takes a lot of time to train. So we have just taken it shortly. That's why I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, so what we have done, like first convolution layer 32 layers, another convolution 32 layers. After that we have what you say um, increase the filter size of this convolution. Like now we are generating 64 filters of 3 by 3. Means the filter size, actually the filter matrix will be of 3 by 3, but the filters will be more. Like it will abstract or look into more features in that particular image. So that's what we have done in this code. Okay. After that we have again done max pooling. Max pooling is for what? Like images will go like to explain this, like if images are big and we have to apply each and every what you say feature of that, like it will take a lot of time. So max pooling and dropout are like kind of reducing the dimensionality thing. Like max pooling specifically is for dimensionality reduction of that particular image. Okay, and what we are doing, we are taking a pool size for that max pooling of 2 by 2. Okay, just as we saw in this example, this was also a 2 by 2 what you say filter matrix for the max pooling. So receptive field was taken as 2 by 2. Okay, so okay, now also after that we have a dropout layer as well. So what does dropout layer do? It is dropping the 20% of irrelevant or random data. It is dropping, like to just thoda fasten the process of building the model. Then we are flattening the thing. Now here till this point our models, our actually the model output was in like a matrix kind of format, but now we have flattened it to only a what you say single matrix, single array, sorry. Okay, a vector itself. Okay, so it will not be in a row and column format. After flattening it will become like only a single row kind of thing, or single column. You may visualize whatever you may visualize it. It's okay. Now, and after that we are adding a dense layer itself, like we had done in the previous sorry yesterday's session of we had added layers of dense layers. Like dense layers are nothing but neural networks connecting with each and every layer present in that. So like every what you say dense neuron in this particular dense layer will be connected to all the flattened neurons present in the previous layer. That's what it signifies. And activation function is ReLU. Again थोड़ा सा ड्रॉप कर दिया अपन ने, like to थोड़ा increase the amount of time, decrease the amount of time to train the model. And then we are actually now predicting the outputs. Like this is the output layer actually. So, and there is a reason why we told the dense layer to have only 10 neurons in here, because in the Cypher10 dataset which is available on Keras, like there are only 10 classes only. Okay, there is only 10 classes, like you can count them, and the what to say the result you will get is 10, and that's why we have the categorical thing is of time 0 to 9. So after that, that is the only reason we have taken it 10. If the classification was of 3 only, like rock paper scissors, which we'll also cover next time, but if we would have if we would have been predicting only rock paper scissors, then this dense layer would have been only 3. but here the classes are 10. So we have taken this dense layer of 10 only. And softmax is for this activation, we have used softmax. And then the summary, like very beautifully it has shown like which convolution is taking outputting how much of the output. And also a peculiar thing you will notice that in this our convolution layers we hadn't included padding, so you may see that the output of this convolution layer is not 32 by 32, it's 30 by 30 by 30, means it has not retained the original image size. So it is a peculiar thing everyone should notice and like think about it. Okay, and we have this 32 over here, you can see is the number of filters producing. Okay, means like 32 filters, 64 filters of that. Okay, so that is a thing. And so that we have now created our entire model to predict the images for this cipher 10 data set. Sorry for the distraction, construction is going on. Okay, now here I will just briefly explain. Like here we are using multiple classes, like not two classes. So if we are using multiple classes, it is expected to use categorical cross entropy as a loss. If you are using only two, like true and false kind of prediction, if you want to do, then you can use binary cross entropy as well. Optimizer Adam favorite. Okay, as you have seen in the yesterday slides. And metrics, we are what to say adding the accuracy metrics in our history model as well after fitting. So this is the instance of model.fit that is created over here. We have done, okay, so we have passed xtrain data, ytrain one hot encoded data. We have not passed numbers from 0 to 9. We have passed an array which is one hot encoded. Okay, so that is the thing. And after that the batch size is 64. So at a time 64 images will be trained, on which the model will be trained, and it will be trained 10 times. And the validation split of 0.2 means 80% of the data will be trained. Like we had 60,000 images, out of which we had taken 50,000 images for training and 10,000 for testing. So out of that 50,000, we are only using like 50,000. Okay, so 10,000. So 10, like 50,000 ka 10% is 5,000. So we are of that 50,000 training what is say images, we are using 40,000 for training and 10,000 for directly validating at particular each and every epoch. So that is the validation split. Some of you had questions on the previous day as well. So this is, it takes a lot of time. Like it had taken 120 seconds for per epoch. Like we took like 20 approximates to train that. And though we have gotten a good accuracy, 75% accuracy, we will be also sharing this collab. You may tweak it and improve the accuracy and tag us. Okay. So after evaluation of on the testing data, we have got an accuracy of 78%. So that is nice. And then we are just trying to what is say thoda visualize the accuracy and loss metrics we had calculated. So what we have done here, like you can see, this history is nothing but an object in which there is a what is a para attribute history which contains the accuracy, features, and that kind of thing. So that you can abstract over here and plot a graph like per epoch what the accuracy for training data set was and for what accuracy for the validation data for in the training data itself. So you can plot that, and from here what we can conclude that at this time, at this point of time, it's like going good. But if we would have included more convolution networks, and if we would have done this convolution model like more complex, it would have given more accuracy, but it would have taken some more time and some GPU, as Atharva said. So that depends. And also the loss is actually quite decreasing, which is good thing. Loss should always be less and less. And that was all about the convolution models we had.